Is Nigeria the China of Africa?
With its recent partnerships, massive population, rapid industrialization, and economic reforms, it's safe to assume that Nigeria is the China of Africa.
From an analyst's perspective, Nigeria seems like the next China.
I'm building, almost completed by January, by the grace of God, my new power plant that will be the biggest thermal plant in Nigeria. It's a 1,250 megawatts power plant.
By investing in power, in oil and gas, by bringing those experts together, we hope that collectively all of us can increase gas production in Nigeria as we increase oil production. Our people can have improved access to electricity.
Why is Nigeria called the new China? In terms of population, Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa, rich in natural resources, including significant oil reserves, natural gas, gold, uranium, coal, iron ore, agricultural land, favorable weather, and human resource. It also is one of the most wealthy nations in Africa. Economists regard Nigeria as the nation of the future, or at least the African superpower of the future, and they're making a sound bet. On the global scale, however, being Africa's largest economy means nothing. Hello again, and welcome to NA TV. If you're a returning viewer, it's nice to see you again. But if you're new here, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you'll be updated when we post a new video, and leave a comment below. It's always a delight hearing from you. In this video, we look at the development strides Nigeria is making and how they mirror the moves China made when it was once regarded as a poor country, and how those moves enabled China to become the powerhouse it is today. When China was at its lowest point, America outsourced jobs to China and then witnessed China's meteoric ascent. So it's only natural to expect that as China transfers more of its employment to Nigeria, Nigeria will enjoy the same sort of growth.
In a breaking news, China has partnered with Nigeria to establish an aircraft maintenance and manufacturing factory in Abuja.
If all this is true about Nigeria, then why is Nigeria still struggling? China's population was a key contributor to the country's growth trajectory. In 1950, Nigeria's population was barely 30 million. It now has 230 million people and is scarcely slowing down. Nigeria will have around 300 million people in 15 years, 400 million in 30 years, more than 500 million in 50 years, and over 700 million in 2100. Nigerians will outnumber Chinese in the globe by the 22nd century. The urbanization rate is about 50%, and new cities are being built to accommodate these additional unborn Nigerians. All of this will contribute to generate Africa's greatest workforce, propelling Nigeria to become one of the wealthiest nations in the future. Approximately 40 years ago, China was seen as a poor and undeveloped nation, struggling with widespread poverty, low industrialization, and a mostly agricultural economy. However, China saw a significant transition after major economic reforms implemented in the late 1970s. These reforms, which centered on opening up the economy, expanding export-oriented sectors, and investing in enormous infrastructure projects, propelled China to become the world's second-largest economy, with unrivaled industrial and technical capabilities. Nigeria, one of Africa's biggest economy and most populous country, is at a crossroad. While the nation has serious obstacles such as corruption, poor infrastructure, and security issues, it also has enormous potential for reform. Nigeria has achieved advances in telecommunications, fintech, and agriculture, and its increasing youthful population provides a demographic dividend comparable to China's labor surge in the 1980s. Furthermore, continuing infrastructural improvements such as trains, highways, and power plants position Nigeria for future industrial expansion. Another factor that contributed to China's ascent was its status as the go-to destination for industrial outsourcing. From consumer electronics to automobiles, clothing, shoes, and accessories, China produced everything for everyone. large corporations such as Apple and Nike outsource their goods to China. A similar situation is already unfolding in Nigeria. China is outsourcing labor to Nigeria. And another thing that China lacked, which Nigeria has, is the organic growth of the services industry. Millions of unemployed but tech-savvy Nigerians are turning online for work. If you've made it this far, please like, share, and subscribe to Na TV. Thanks. As Nigerians become increasingly tech-savvy, with over 200 million mobile phone users and over 100 million of those having regular access to the internet, a large number of the population is moving online to find sustenance. The freelance sector in Nigeria is booming like never before, as everyone and their grandmothers outsource their remote jobs to Nigeria, be it web and app development, graphic design, content writing, data analysis, virtual assistants, online research, video editing, to name a few. As Nigerians increasingly move online for sustenance, this will bring in more foreign currencies locally and boost the local economy. With Nigerians earning in dollars or pounds, they'll be able to empower their local counterparts financially and provide local job opportunities. Also, when China sought growth, their foreign-to-local remittance was about $3 billion annual, adjusted for inflation, of course. While, presently, Nigerians abroad remit $20 billion to Nigeria annually. Compare this to the Chinese population of 1.4 billion people. This is quite the achievement. Other areas of Nigeria's development that mirrors that of China are industrialization and manufacturing. China's rise was heavily reliant on its transition to a global manufacturing hub, leveraging cheap labor, government subsidies, and special economic zones. Nigeria is currently replicating this by scaling up its manufacturing capacity. Already, the country has some industrial hubs, such as the Lekki Free Trade Zone and the Calabar Export Processing Zone. Expanding and improving these zones with better infrastructure, tax incentives, and access to raw materials could attract foreign direct investment and boost local industries. Infrastructure development. China's economic growth was built on robust infrastructure, modern highways, high-speed rail, ports, and power plants. Nigeria has made some progress in infrastructure, including the Lagos-Ibadan Railway, the Abuja-Kaduna Railway, the Adeleke Power Plant, Dangote Refinery, including other upcoming projects like the Rabiu-led refinery and other modular refineries, are set to reduce reliance on fuel imports and boost the economy. Technological innovation. China's emphasis on technology and innovation played a pivotal role in its growth. Companies like Huawei and Tencent have positioned China as a global tech leader. Nigeria's burgeoning fintech sector, with companies like Flutterwave and Paystack, shows that technological innovation is possible, with Nigeria having the most unicorn startups than all African countries combined. But Nigeria still needs to expand on digital infrastructure, encouraging tech startups, and fostering collaboration between universities and industries could create a vibrant technology ecosystem in the country. Urbanization and real estate development. China's urbanization created new economic hubs and provided labor for its industries. Nigeria's urbanization is growing rapidly, developing well-planned cities like Abuja, Eco-Atlantic, and other urban areas being developed throughout the country, demonstrating Nigeria's potential for creating modern urban centers. Global partnerships and trade alliances. China's entry into the World Trade Organization in 2001 marked a turning point in its integration into the global economy. Nigeria, already a member of the World Trade Organization and the African Continental Free Trade Area, can leverage these platforms to expand its trade networks. Strengthening ties with emerging economies and entering strategic bilateral agreements could enhance Nigeria's trade position. We already see this in Nigeria's acceptance into BRICS. Hopefully, more economic and trade partnerships will be in its horizons. So after highlighting the similarities between where China was 40 years ago and where Nigeria is now, let's see the differences and what Nigeria can do to improve. First and foremost, it is important to note that Nigeria is full of divisions. there's the North and South division, ethnic division, and religious groups. Throughout history, the Chinese were mostly one people, so it made sense that they could speak with one voice for their development. In contrast, the territory now known as Nigeria was home to over 200 mini-nations, each with its own language, culture, religion, and customs. Being compelled to live under one roof has only exacerbated the gap, and Nigeria, with just over 60 years of independence, is still a relatively young country when compared to China, England, or America. So expecting Nigeria to compete on the same level as other industrialized countries would be an unjust expectation. However, this does not mean it is impossible. If you're still here, it means you like what you're watching, so why not show us some love by hitting the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Thanks a lot. Energy and sustainability. China's energy infrastructure supported its industrial expansion. Nigeria's chronic electricity shortages remain a significant bottleneck. Investing in renewable energy sources such as solar and wind, alongside expanding gas-powered plants, could stabilize the power sector. The ongoing Siemens Nigeria Power Project aims to increase electricity generation and distribution capacity, but consistent execution is necessary. Education and workforce development. China invested heavily in education to create a skilled workforce that could support industrialization and technology adoption. Nigeria has a young and growing population, but suffers from high unemployment and underemployment. In the 60s, Nigeria had the bright idea, sponsoring thousands of Nigerians in America and England on educational scholarships. But in the advent of the Civil War, many of these scholars were left stranded abroad, and since then, Nigeria has ceased such programs. Investing in vocational training, STEM education, and technical institutions could equip Nigeria's youth with the skills needed for industrial and technological growth. Programs similar to China's Made in China 2025 initiative, which focuses on upskilling workers for advanced industries, could be adopted. Export-oriented economy. China's focus on becoming the factory of the world allowed it to dominate global trade. Nigeria can similarly harness its comparative advantages, such as abundant natural resources and agricultural products, to develop an export-oriented economy. For example, value addition in agriculture could significantly increase export revenues. Reducing bureaucratic bottlenecks and improving port operations, such as the Apapa port, is critical for export competitiveness.
Increase the agricultural production because our food lands that are not producing today, with that will supply our industry and make them export-oriented.
Government policy and leadership. China's government implemented long-term consistent policies that prioritized economic growth. Nigeria needs similarly stable and visionary leadership to implement reforms that reduce corruption, improve governance, and create an enabling environment for business. Policies encouraging ease of doing business, such as the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, must be deepened and effectively implemented. Rural development and agriculture. China's transformation began with reforms in agriculture, which lifted millions out of poverty and increased food security. Nigeria's agricultural sector has significant potential, with arable land and diverse crop production. Modernizing farming techniques, improving access to markets, and addressing issues like herder-farmer conflicts could make agriculture a driver of economic growth. Initiatives like the Anchor Borrowers Program by the Central Bank of Nigeria show promise but require scaling and better implementation.
India is 1.4 billion people living on 3.2 million square kilometers of land. They're able to feed themselves and export agricultural products. You live almost on 1/3 of their land and you're 1/7 of their population. So you have more land for agriculture.
And that's all from us here at NaTV. Will Nigeria become the next China, or will Nigeria find a different path? We will have to watch and see. But it is undeniable that the future of the country is bright. Thanks for sticking around this far. And until we meet again, please stay safe out there in the streets. Peace.